Thanks for tuning in to CPA Life, where we talk culture and growth with folks that are going against the grain in an industry that has been stuck with a "we've always done it that way" mindset for far too long. Join host John Randolph and learn how a sustainable, family-friendly career in public accounting doesn't have to be the exception to the rule. Welcome to CPA Life.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to CPA Life. You may recognize my voice from a past episode or two where I've joined John. This is Justin Grant, the producer. John and I are here, so you'll be hearing from him momentarily, but we're excited to have a little bit of a different approach to the episode today and just talk about where the show's going next and talk about why John has been thinking, where is the show, and where are a lot of things going next. There have been some interesting developments, and I'm excited to hear about them. I really don't know many of the details, so we will be learning these things together. John, welcome to your own show. It's great to be here with you.
It's good to be with you. You get to deal with today what typically my wife and a couple of my employees get to deal with, which is external verbal processing.
We all get to deal with it.
Yeah, exactly. There are people, my wife is the type of person that when she says it, it has been thought about for days, weeks, and maybe even months. So by golly, that is what we're doing. That's the path we're going down. We aren't deviating from it. It has now been spoken. I, on the other hand, tend to think about things and sometimes go, no, that's not the path we're going to take. So I don't think that'll be the case with too much what we talk about, because this is stuff that I've been thinking about now for the last 2 to 2.5 months.
It sounds good. And let's get into exactly that, because I think at this point, the listeners are probably wondering why we're here and why we're doing this. So why don't you go ahead and just, start going into that verbal processing.
So it's been an interesting last 2.5 months not being on any social media. I mean, I would pop in every now and then to just see what was going on. But yeah, I think I was looking at my phone time the other day to kind of get an idea of where it was versus where it's been. And part of the step back from social media was also driven by, the fact that it was taking up a lot of time. And it's one of those things that, you can have the greatest intentions in the world of being limited in what you're doing, even in a platform like LinkedIn, which is valuable to the business.
Yeah.
But you look down and you realize that you've spent, 2.5, 3 hours of your day on a platform that, can literally suck the life out of you and take you down a lot of crazy paths. So yeah. I'm stereotypically not on a lot of other social media platforms. During COVID, I completely extracted myself from Facebook, deleted TikTok accounts, have nothing on Instagram. I don't know if I've ever posted anything on Instagram. I probably need to look at doing something there for the business. But anyway, just felt it necessary to take a step back. And it was kind of the driver for all of this was really 6 months away. Well, not even 6 months away. I guess it was 5 months away, June, July, August, September. Yeah, 5 months away from my 60th birthday, which is a month from yesterday.
Yeah.
And just really kind of hitting the pause button to understand, okay, where are we? What are we doing? I think too many times we just get on the treadmill and start going. And I know that the last couple of years in our business, we had done that as well. And so just the ability to stop, pause, step back and say, okay, what are we doing? Let's cut the noise down. Let's be quiet. And so I originally thought I'm going to do this for a month. And then when I looked at the calendar and saw the things that I had going on in my life at that time, with work, outside of work, with the family, with mine and Cindy's marriage mentoring and marriage coaching ministry that we do, some trips we had on the calendar, I just felt, you know what, let's take this thing until mid-September and really spend some time in contemplative thought and read a little bit more and stay off of social media. So that's what the driver was for, the last, whatever it's been, almost 75, 80 days.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more that resets like that, they can be so good because, at some point, you're just absolutely on a diminishing return cycle. And it can take you a while to realize, I'm really like this, I could document this as productive time that I'm spending, but is it really? And the answer is generally no after a certain point.
Mm-hmm.
So this was quite the uplifting and kind of creative juices sort of exercise for you.
Yeah, I think the necessity to have some guardrails when it comes to technology, really anything. I think anything in excess can be bad for us. I don't care if it's social media. I don't care if it's TV. I don't care if it's if it's food, if it's alcohol, whatever it is. Too much in excess can dull the senses. So having guardrails in place, and I had started last year around this time putting some of those things in place when it comes to notifications on the phone, things along those lines. Going into this year, I had deleted emails off my phone, done some other things with notifications on my phone, had deleted Facebook, put Facebook back on because I think there was something I was looking to purchase, and probably 90% of my time that I would go onto Facebook was to look at Facebook Marketplace to find out if I could get what I needed locally, quickly at a good price.
Yeah.
But again, it's just like anything else in life. You go onto Facebook to look for, the thing that you're looking for that you need at the time, and you see something that a friend posts, and next thing you know, 2 hours later, laying in bed or sitting on the sofa, you've had 2 hours of your life sucked away that you'll never get back.
Yeah. Well, and in stark contrast to that sort of effect, you've told me that you've come up with some really interesting directions and possibilities that you'd like to take where the podcast will go and what kind of changes lie ahead. So, listeners, I'm in the same boat as you. I have not heard any of these ideas yet. So we're all going to hear them here together. The big reveal.
I don't know if it's that much of a big reveal as much of it is just really trying to get hands around who are we?
Yeah.
What's the message that we want to continually send? What's the message that we want to continue to amplify in the marketplace as it pertains to clients, candidates, the market that we serve, the folks that we act as a talent advisor to, and really just looking at this thing from a complete holistic perspective, not just how to hire, how to retain, how to attract, but really how do we become better technically at what we do? How do we become better people at what we do? How do we become, better at those that we interact with, not only in our professional circles, but in our personal circles as well. We've spent so much time over the last 2 to 2.5 years on the podcast, really talking about how to build a firm that is more people centric.
Yeah.
How to attract people, what took people down those paths, what are people looking for in a firm like that? But I think that there's so much more than that we could dig into and that we could talk about, and the journeys that people have taken that allow them to run the kind of firms they run, which I think resonate with a lot of the types of candidates that they're looking to hire and that we enjoy engaging with. We've got a client that we work with that their business model is they deal with a lot of functional medicine, functional fitness providers around the country. Well, we've been able to take that passion for what they do. And one of the things that, even though it wasn't a requirement, but spend time talking to candidates about their own health journey and how potentially, a non-traditional medical provider has brought value into their life or their family member's life or a friend's life, and how that's something that they really connect with, and find a candidate that fits not only the technical aspect, but also a passion for what it is they do.
Yeah.
We worked with a client earlier this year, and these are all kind of some of the things that came through the last 2.5 months of really digging into who are we and what do we enjoy doing. Yeah. Worked with a client that does a lot of work in the not-for-profit space. And one of their largest clients that they ironically referred to us that was looking for a controller is a organization that works with people that have addiction issues, whether it's drugs or alcohol. They work with people to get them back on their feet, teach them a trade, teach them a skill. They have an in-house place where these people live for a period of time. While they're doing that, they also have to work on site at a cafeteria they have and a store they have. They also have a restaurant that's a public-facing restaurant. So they have to work through all of that. That's how they pay for the services that are provided to them.
Right.
And again, even though we weren't out looking for it, we found a candidate that has dealt with her own recovery issue, not only her, but a family member. And being able to put that person in there has not only been a great technical match, but also has been a great personal match of being able to put people in places that resonate deeper than just, hey, can you do a 1040 or 1120S?
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that moving forward that we really want to start looking at as an organization. Again, I'm not saying that, hey, if you're not someone that has a passion for real estate, that you can't work for one of our clients that does a lot of work in the real estate space. But I think that those are things through the course of conversation with people begins to bring more value to the table and create more stickiness for people when they do step into an organization that's more than just, hey, what's my job? And so those are some of the things that as a business we want to start amplifying. And I think that we can begin to start to amplify as well through the podcast is not only how did you end up where you are and why do you do what you do, but what are the things that bring you joy? What are the things that bring passion into the space of the work that you do? I mean, that is something that I think gets all of us, regardless of who we are and regardless of what it is that we're passionate about, those are the things that people enjoy talking about. I think it was Dale Carnegie that said that, people love to talk about two or three things. They love to talk about their job, they love to talk about their family, and they love to talk about where they've traveled to and where they've been to. Those are things that if you start to ask people about themselves, they'll talk all day about those things if they're passionate about them. Now, sometimes with work or even with family, that passion cannot be a positive thing at times, but they'll talk about it. You open that door, they're going to talk about it. But if we can find things that we can start to amplify in the lives of people that they are passionate about, I believe that that's really where we start to be able to make a difference in not just a firm's talent acquisition and talent retention, but also in the lives of the people that we're matching up with them.
Yeah. Yeah. And great reference, by the way, because Andrew Carnegie was born about 3 miles from where I live in Scotland. So that's
nice.
Really nice coincidental connection there. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that we just have the opportunity when we're focused on more than just a placement, when we're focused on more than just a deal and a transaction.
Yeah.
It gives us the opportunity to really start to dig in to understand what is it that's going to make this person drop anchor, grow some deep roots, and be a part of an organization long term.
Yeah.
We are pretty committed to working with the types of clients that we've been blessed to be able to partner with, forward-thinking, progressive-minded firm leaders that are looking to build the antithesis of the stereotypical CPA firm.
Yeah.
We've been able to amplify those stories over and over and over again and create impact in people's lives, pulling them out of firms where they don't see a future, they don't see a hope, they don't see anything other than 60, 70, 80-hour work weeks. But if we can start to now dig into more of what brings you joy, not to steal a Marie Kondo, is it Marie Kondo? Not to steal anything from her, but truly, what is it that brings you joy? And how can we leverage that from a career standpoint? And Justin, you and I have talked about this from a mindset perspective. I don't think that you have to love what you do to do what you do for a vocation. I don't. I think that's a lie that we've sold to this generation, that you have to love what you do.
Yep.
Now, again, I don't remember who it was that said it, but the great colloquialism, if you will, of find what you love to do and you'll never work a day in your life. There is a lot of truth to that.
Sure.
There's a lot of truth to that. But I don't love recruiting.
Right.
I enjoy what I do. I enjoy the impact that we can make in the marketplace and the change that we can bring about in people's lives. What I love is playing those things that are behind me.
Yeah.
I love writing music.
That's your life's calling, if you want to call it that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I've said for years that sometimes what we do as a vocation is the vehicle that pays for us to be able to do the things that we love. Because unless you hit the right note, pun intended, in the right place in front of the right people, those things aren't going to pay for you to have the kind of life, or pay for me to have the kind of life that I want to be able to provide for my family.
Yeah.
But doing what I do for a living does allow that to happen.
Yeah.
And therefore there's joy that comes out of that. So again, I don't think you have to love what you do, but I think that if we could begin to mirror more an understanding of what it is that people want out of life and how we can connect them with firms that make that a possibility, I think that's really where we start to bring more value to the table, other than just, I have a hole, I have a peg, let's put them together.
Yeah.
Now we have an employee,
100%. And importantly, even if you love your job, like well beyond you and I liking what we do, if it takes up all your time, you're still going to be miserable.
Mhm.
Like there's just no getting around it. It doesn't matter how passionate you are about whatever your particular role is. So, we're not just trying to fill a hole with a peg, but at least the beginnings of something that people can really take pride in, they can really enjoy, that can give them the time and space and leave them with enough energy, particularly to actually go enjoy the stuff they really, really want to do.
Yep.
Love that. Great idea. And along those lines of what you just said, that people like to talk about these things, these kinds of stories. I also, call me crazy, feel like people like to listen to stories like this.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is great. I'm loving where you're going with these ideas.
I think that one of the other things that, again, that I've leaned into really more than just the 2.5 months, it really was a journey that I started March of this year, April of this year.
Mm-hmm.
As I've alluded to in a couple of LinkedIn posts, and you and I have talked about, big milestone birthday in a month. 40 didn't bother me. And it's not that 60 bothers me. I want to make that really clear. 40 didn't really affect me mentally or emotionally. Just didn't. When I was turning 40, one of my goals was that I wanted to do a triathlon before I turned 40. So I ended up doing 3 before I turned 40. Between 39 and 40, I did 3 not full Ironmans, but did 1 sprint and then 2 Olympic triathlons.
Once upon a time, there was no such thing as a full Ironman. People thought it was crazy enough you were doing a triathlon. So, I mean, come on.
That's true. That is true. So, I set that goal. I accomplished that. When I turned 50, again, there was nothing going on in my head worrying about stuff, from a health standpoint.
That feels more like the big one to me, because that's half a century. That's a nice round number. You would think it would be the one if there was going to be one.
Exactly. So 50 didn't jack with my head much. I set some goals for 50. There were a couple of adventure races and Spartan races that I wanted to do, and so I did that when I turned 50. 55, again, I just kind of rolled through 55. Didn't really think much about it. I was in the middle of building Benaya Consulting Group.
Mm-hmm.
Was still in the middle of having a full-blown music ministry that we were doing somewhere in the neighborhood of 150 to 200 concerts and ministry dates throughout the year all over the country, predominantly in the South and the Southeast. So there was all that going on. We were right in the midst of COVID while all that was happening also. So, 55 didn't hit me really that big. But as I started looking towards 60, and part of it probably was also my dad had open heart surgery, quadruple bypass when he was 60. There's been health issues with men in my family for years. I'm very blessed. I don't have any health issues.
Yeah.
Don't take any pharmaceutical drugs, medicines, anxiety medication, depression medication, heart issues, blood pressure, cholesterol, nothing. Take a ton of vitamins, but that's about it. But 60 started looming bigger for me back about March timeframe. And I think part of it was, I've said for years jokingly to people that I've got more runway behind me than I do in front of me. And in conjunction with that, there's a part of me that has always felt that my mom lived to be 91. And there's a part of me that's always felt one of her secrets to longevity was, as long as I can remember, if you asked my mom how old she was at a birthday, in general, in conversation, whatever it was, my mom's answer was always the same. I don't ever remember my mom honestly saying how old she was. My mom's answer consistently was, I'm 21.
I love it. That's just like my wife.
And I think that she believed that. If you knew my mom, you would say, yeah, I would say Ann Randolph believed that. She was smart as a whip. She was going to school, literally taking classes online at 88. She stopped at 89 because she started having some dementia and Alzheimer's issues. But up to 88, she was taking classes online.
Amazing.
She had 2 bachelor's degree, a master's degree, and a PhD. Hyper
Brilliant.
intelligent lady.
Wow.
So all of those things combined just really started to mess with me going into 60, thinking about, okay, what does this next chapter look like? And wanting to lean into really getting a lot more healthy, taking my health serious. I've always worked out. I've always taken care of myself, but I really wanted to take it to a whole other level. And I've gotten to the point where I've probably had more blood tests and smarts than I've had in the past 2 decades, measuring pretty much everything in my body that you can measure. I've let it be known to my kids that I'm middle-aged because my goal now is 120. Not more runway behind me than in front of me. I have the exact same amount of runway in front of me as I do behind me. And I believe that we're in a world today where if you lean into understanding what it is that drives you as a human being, not only emotionally, not only from a health standpoint, but passion, heart, soul, what is it that drives you? I think those things that you're passionate about help you live a more productive, help you live a more fulfilling, help you live a life that puts you in a position where you have more opportunity to give. I've made no bones about it, whether it's through clients I talk to, if it comes up on our website, here on the podcast. I'm a believer. And one of the things that God's word tells me as a believer is that we are to do things that we do for other people out of the overflow of our heart. Well, the only way that we could overflow is we got to fill up. There's no other way. I can't take my pitcher and say, hey, Justin, let me put some in your cup if I'm not taking the time daily to fill up my pitcher.
Yeah.
I think that one of our amazing opportunities in our firm is the opportunity to help people get into a position where they can fill their pitcher up daily, and through that process, fill up the pitcher of other people in their lives, whether that's their clients, whether that's their employees, whether that's their employers. It doesn't matter. I think that the opportunity to do that only comes if you have margin in your life, if you have space in your life, and you have the opportunity to fill up yourself. It's interesting to me, Justin, the couples that Cindy and I work with through our marriage coaching and marriage mentoring.
Yeah.
It never fails. The couples that we meet with that are making progress, and I want to also make it clear, we're not only dealing with couples in crisis. I'd say probably 90% of the couples that we get to work with, that we are blessed to work with, they have very good marriages, but they want great marriages. Only about 10% are in crisis. But it doesn't matter whether they're in crisis or they're in a good position. The couples that are making progress at building a great marriage, they all have margin in their lives where they make time individually a priority. Not only together, but individually.
Yeah.
Because you can't pour into other people if you're not filling your own vessel up. So it's always interesting to us whenever we get together with a couple. We try to meet with the couples we meet with at least once a month, sometimes every other week. But when we sit down and we start to sense tension, when we sit down and we start to see that there's disconnect, one of the things that I'll always ask people is, so how's your individual time been from the standpoint of filling up and taking care of yourself? What has that been looking like? And inevitably, the answer is constant. I haven't had time. I'm too busy.
Yeah.
I haven't had time. Oh, maybe that's the problem. And I think that this business has a way of sucking so much out.
Oh, yeah.
I think life does in general, but I think this business,
there are particular
public
ones
accounting,
that are worse. Yes.
has the ability to suck so much out of you.
Oh, yeah.
I think that if we make it a priority, we're not going to win every time, but if we make it a priority to find out what those things are that allow people to fill those buckets up, we will start to create a lot more stickiness with the candidates we work with, the clients we work with, and for lack of a better way to put it, the marriages that we create between the two.
That's really well said. Really well said. And I think we're curious to hear how that connects to what's coming up on the podcast. And thank you for sharing all that, by the way.
You are more than welcome. You're more than welcome. So there could be some interesting topics that we lean into with people not even necessarily in the public accounting space, but people that focus on coaching, teaching, working with people to become better at who they are and what they do, whether it's from a health standpoint, a mental standpoint. I mean, I know that in the past we've had Amber Setter on the podcast, leaning into more people like Amber.
Yeah.
There's people out there that are wonderful coaches in this space that spend a lot of time teaching firm leaders and firm owners how to build a more people-centric firm, leaning into some of those resources. Those are some things that I see us being able to do to be able to bring more value to our audience, not just, hey, let's talk about the firm that you've built. That's important, that's critical, but helping people understand how they can get to the next level in their careers or get to the next level in building the firm that they want to build. Those are the things that I think are going to bring us more joy and bring more joy to the people that we get to interact with and engage with.
Absolutely. And I mean, it's called CPA Life. So, of course, yes, it's focused on public accounting. But personally, I've always enjoyed the episodes where you go outside that kind of framework a little bit. And Amber Setter, great example where, let's talk about something that's maybe a little bit more universally applicable, but everybody should be really keen on and really aware of the ways to make these things work for your people and just to improve their experiences, even just leaving out the human aspect of it. It's going to repay over and over again everything you put into that kind of thing.
Yep. It's one of those things that I don't think that you can really sit down and quantify the ROI to your business on.
Exactly.
But it is huge when there's more that connects a person to your organization or more that connects an organization to you as a person than just a job and a paycheck.
Yeah.
So that's some of the stuff I'm thinking, some of the stuff that we're going to be leaning into. I won't get into right now because I'm still trying to just think about some stuff. But one of the things that I'm kicking around is right now we have 3 business models. We have our Talent Plus advisory model. We have our Engage model that we've had forever and a stereotypical contingency model. I'm seriously thinking about completely unplugging our Engage model and getting rid of it.
Interesting.
Leaning 100% into our Talent Plus model, only working either Talent Plus clients or contingency clients, and then somewhere in the middle of that, creating some kind of a hybrid that says, hey, if you want to work with us on an engaged basis, the only way that we'll work with clients on an engaged basis is basically you need to hire me and pay a small retainer on a monthly basis. That will go against any fee that we would charge you.
Right.
So like easy math, so if I did $1,000 a month, okay, that'd be $12,000 a year. If you hired somebody at, $100,000, our fee would be, 15% or $15,000. Well, you've got $12,000 that you're going to pay this year. So we would just, if you've already paid $6,000 of that, let's say.
Yeah.
So the net effect difference at this point is $9,000.
Yeah.
So that's what we'll do.
Right.
Which will allow us to really focus more on the Talent Plus business that I want to continue to grow and work with clients on.
Well, and that's the key, isn't it? The touch points, they're not just points anymore. There's continuous interaction going on when you're in the Talent Plus advisory, because it's advisory. That's the entire point, that you're getting more involved. You're really on the pulse of each firm's needs and what they're looking for. And so it's not just a mad dash, particularly at those couple stereotypical times of the year. Oh, we need this many people by this time because, January's soon.
Yeah.
So it makes it better for everybody involved.
Yeah. I promise you, we will have 10 phone calls, minimum 10, potentially more.
Yeah.
But we'll have 10 phone calls after Thanksgiving
right.
of people that I've talked to once or twice in the last 3, 4, 5, 6 months that have said, hey, we're all good. Don't need anybody. We're all good. We're doing well. Everything's great. I promise you, we'll have at least 10 phone calls sometime between the Friday after Thanksgiving to a week and a half to 2 weeks into December. and it will be hairs on fire. I'm dying. I don't know how I'm going to deal with tax season this year.
Wouldn't it be great to avoid that altogether? It sure sounds like it would be.
Well, like Justin, we have a client that we've worked with for 2 years now with Talent Plus, John Mark and Cohesion Business Advisors.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So coming out of the April tax season, they reached out to us and said, hey, we're going to need to hire at least 4 people between now and September 15th.
Yeah.
We've got some vacations going on. I'm going to be out. This guy's going to be out. So we really probably aren't going to start really looking. Plus, we also want to review some people. Probably going to start looking July at the latest. So let's target that as interview start dates, and then, looking to hire employees that'll start sometime August to October kind of time frame.
Yeah.
So we had a 3-month runway to start building out a pipeline.
There you go.
We filled 4 positions with them. Had a phone call with them today. Hey, where do we stand going into Q4, beginning of Q1? What are we looking at? We think we're good. But let's start looking at tax associates.
Yeah.
Because there's a chance that we may lose one person and we may promote somebody. Even if we don't do those, we just signed up 8 new clients. So we think that we can sustain probably at least 1, if not 2 people between, November 1st and mid-January.
There you go.
Those are the kind of conversations that we can have. Now, on top of that, we've continued to reach out to them.
Yeah.
And put people in front of them to interview, even though they didn't have an opening. If we interview somebody that is, culturally a solid fit for who they are, they've hired a couple of remote people, but in their perfect world, we'd love people that are in the Dallas area, come in the office 2-3 days a week. So when we find somebody that's in Dallas that checks all the right boxes, that fits their culture, we always call them and say, hey, don't know what's going on. Based on our last conversation, we're good, but we've also talked about this, and we just talked to somebody that may fit who we are.
Yeah, and what's the harm in making the connection? The harm's in not making the connection.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There's nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Nothing to lose. Have a conversation. Have it just like any other KPI as a business leader that you run your business with, that there are touch points in my week where even if I don't need to hire somebody, there are touch points in my week where I am doing recruiting type activities, talent acquisition type activities. And that activity may not necessarily be interviewing people, looking at resumes, that activity may be, hey, I probably need to rewrite this job description because it's pretty stinking boring. And I haven't rewritten it in 5 years.
Yeah.
So let me rewrite this job description. And that's my task this week of the 2 talent-driven type tasks. That's one of them that I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
So just anything to move the needle on your business is huge when it comes to being proactive with people. So I'm leaning towards doing that. Don't know when, don't know how deep I'll drive that stake in the ground.
Yeah.
There's a part of me that says, if not now, when? And if not deeply, then don't do it at all. Don't halfway do it.
Yeah.
Don't give yourself an out to say, okay. I had a client that we haven't worked with in 2 years. And I was thinking about this while we were on our trip to Boston and in Boston. And he reached out to me while we were in Boston and said, hey, I'm going to be going on vacation next week. Do you have any time to talk this week? I'm going to be needing somebody. Would really like to see if you guys could help us. And I thought, let's try this out and just see how he reacts to it. And his reaction was, send the different pricing proposals over to me. I'm probably leaning towards, working with you guys on a Talent Plus basis, because not only this position, but I'm probably going to be looking for 2 more senior tax managers, plus a tax manager, plus 2 to 3 more associates in the next year to 18 months.
Amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's one of those jumping off points that leaning more towards, I just need to figure it out.
Yeah, well, you're practicing what this show preaches, which is differentiate, offer more value. That's exactly what you're trying to do. And why not?
Yeah.
As you've pointed out so many times, there are so many similarities between these two overlapping worlds of recruiting and accounting. And so it absolutely makes sense to be doing just the sorts of things you talk about all the time.
And just like our clients or prospects turn down business, they also try to at least be a resource. And when I say be a resource, I don't only mean from a knowledge standpoint, but when somebody says, hey, I need X done, well, we're probably not the answer for you. So can we refer you to a couple of people that are?
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I've done is, reach out to 4 other recruiters in the space that I know deal with folks in the public accounting space to have a conversation with them and say, hey, this is a path that I'm looking at taking. If I take this path, are you a resource that I could at least refer people to and give them options to consider?
Yeah.
There's enough business out there. I don't care what the business is, whether it's recruiting, podcast production, public accounting. There's enough business out there for anybody and everybody.
Oh, yeah.
So working on making sure that those resources exist, that I don't have to send somebody into the abyss and say, hey, here's someone that I think can take care of you. Reach out to these 2 people.
Yeah. Make sure those tides are rising. All our boats are floating higher.
Absolutely. So thank you guys for joining us for another episode of CPA Life and listening to a little bit of the rambling of where we're going to be taking the show and some of the things we're going to be doing a little bit different. So I'd love for you to subscribe to the podcast, give us a like, give us your thoughts, your comments on the platform of your choice. But the other thing that I'd like to hear from you is if there are people in the public accounting space or people that you believe could be valuable to people in the public accounting space, drop a comment down below. Shoot me a message directly. We'll make sure that we put my contact info in the show notes. And let me know who some of those people might be, because we are looking to do everything that we can to expand the horizons, not only of our podcast, but also the industry in general, to give people the opportunity to live their best CPA life that they can.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting app, leave a 5-star rating, and visit our website for links and show notes at cpalifepodcast.com. We'll see you next time on CPA Life.
ProfessionalProductions.net